Well, good day, guys, and welcome back to the channel. A different format for my NRL tips. You may have seen these in the past 2 years, back in 2020 and 21. I had a guest on the channel each week. We have had this guest on before. Please welcome today's guest for round 16, which is, we should have been wearing beanies. It is Beanies for Brain Cancer round 16. Welcome, BKR Sport.
Thank you very much, man. I'm trying to actually look for a beanie right now. I'll be actually at the Mark Hughes Newcastle game because he's from Newcastle. So I should be wearing a beanie, but no, I can't find any beanies around, man. But yeah, no, good to be back, man. Haven't been on here for a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's good to have you back.
Well,
shall we get straight into it?
We can get into it, man. But it's like we all know what I'm going to tip for the Titans game, and we all know what's going to happen there. But no, man, I'm keen, bro. Obviously, it's going to be a pretty good round this round, and we're getting to that point of the season where it's incredibly, it's a pivotal part of the season because Origin's still kind of there, and it's a big game coming up in a week and a half's time. But it's like the teams are really finding it. This is an important part of whether they're going to make the 8 or not make the 8 and still getting by the Origin period. So, and I'm looking forward to this round.
Yeah, a lot of teams fighting for a top 8 spot, about 3 or 4 teams there, and then a few teams fighting for a top 4 spot as well. So makes it interesting.
And teams avoiding the spoon as well. Don't you forget about that. There's like 5 teams down there.
Quite a few down there. Just quickly, I'll touch on round 15. So the Dragons defeated the Rabbitohs 32-12 in a bit of an upset win there at Wollongong. I felt like it was a coin flip game personally, but the Dragons were just too good on the night. The Cowboys came back. Scored 16 unanswered points in the second half to beat the Manly Seagulls 28 points to 26. If I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure I did tip the Cowboys by 2.
I would clarify that, by the way. The way you said that was like the second half. It was the last like 4 minutes of the game. Like, it wasn't the second half. It was the last like 5 or 4 minutes of the game.
There wasn't many points at the start of the second half from memory, but yeah, towards the end, a great victory. Lachlan Croker actually from Manly really stood out in that match. The next game, I thought I was going to predict scores back-to-back. If you probably streamed this game, the Broncos and the Storm, I said that the Storm will win. I said that the Storm will win 32-16, and I tell you what, I was so close, but Ezra Mam scoring that try to make it 32-20. The Titans put in a bit of a fight at the Coffs Harbour Stadium. Are you at that game? How was the atmosphere?
We were the atmosphere. I'm not going to lie. Like, obviously, it was closer to the Gold Coast than to Cronulla. However, it was a Cronulla home game, and there were probably 95% Sharks fans. But I obviously brought the drum down, and honestly didn't have any Sharks chance or anything all day. So we absolutely slapped them down there off the field. That's all we can do as fans. We can't do anything on the field. So the best we can do is go crazy off it, and we absolutely brought that atmosphere with us.
And then the other game I want to speak about to finish off the round, we had the Bulldogs defeat the Tigers, carry on their form, 36 points to 12. And Josh Addo-Carr, obviously not selected for Origin, but another great game from him. But let's get into round 16, which kicks off tomorrow night. It is the Melbourne Storm and the Manly Seagulls. This game is at 4 Pines Park, and the Manly Seagulls, they're fighting for a spot in the top 8. Josh Aloiai is out for this game, and it doesn't really look like any ins for the Seagulls, mainly just names on the reserves there. Felice Kafusi is out for the Melbourne Storm. And in, Ryan Pappenhausen has been named in jersey number 19. I think he's a huge chance of being a late inclusion, a very late inclusion in my opinion. And Jaden Nikorima has been named in jersey number 14. What do you see for this game?
Look, I think Melbourne win. I think that Munster is obviously probably not going to be playing, so that's a huge out there. Actually, who does come into the 6 there?
Well, Munster has been named at present, but probably...
Craig Bellamy came out and said he probably isn't going to be playing. And he's had a couple of cortisone injections, but more than likely won't play. But that is a big loss for them if he doesn't play.
Do you put Meaney in the 6 if Pappenhausen goes to fullback?
You can. There's not a great deal of options there. But point matter is, I still think Storm do win this game. I think that they will be a little bit better. They've got Manly, yes, they're fighting for a top 8 spot. And this is a big rivalry game that people are forgetting as well. Like, these two teams do really hate each other. They've had, obviously, the Battle of Brookvale that happened about 10, 11 years ago now. And these two teams have had a pretty long-standing rivalry in recent history anyway. So I don't know. I just think that their spine is still going to be better. I think their forwards are better. And I think that when it comes to Manly, they are really struggling this year. And obviously, Trbojevic is a massive impact on that one. But also, their aging halves, and Cherry Evans and Kieran Foran is starting to weigh down with them. Obviously, Kieran Foran's gone to the Titans, which will be pretty good, actually, for the Gold Coast Titans with the utilisation of him alongside Toby Sexton to give him experience. But I think for the time being, Manly just seem to be in a really weird stanza where they don't know whether to go all in on, I guess, a halves combination of Cherry Evans and Schuster, or to kind of think about what they would do post Cherry Evans, because it is coming. Post Cherry Evans is coming. So there's a lot for them to think about right now. But yeah, I'll take the Storm to win.
I think if Tom Trbojevic plays in this game, I'd be taking Manly 1-12, but I can't see it happening. I know it is at Manly. You mentioned the rivalry. They're going to be up for it. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think there's going to be plenty of points. So my tip for this game is the Storm by 4. I'm going to go 24 points to 20. And I'm going to take Harry Grant to score the first try after not the best game of Origin for us the other night. I think he'll be in for a blinder of a game. Do you have a score prediction or just a margin?
I'll give you a margin of 1-12. I still think Manly will be pretty good there. But if I'm going to go a try scorer, so for the Storm, Anderson's playing number 5, so you'd assume Jason Saab will go up against him. I think Jason Saab should be able to get a try for Manly in this game, to be honest with you, especially with that weekend edge there with no Xavier Coates. And then also Marion Seve is in the centre, and I think that you'll probably be able to see Tom Cup-Quarter go up and get a try there. So I guess they're two relatively easy picks there on the wing there for Manly, and then the centre there for the Storm. But wing and centre for Manly. But yeah, I'll go one of those two guys to score a try, and 1-12 for the Storm.
Great picks there. Let's move into the next game on Friday. You'll be at this one. It is the Newcastle Knights against the Gold Coast Titans. Let's have a look at the Titans first. So Sam Lazone, is that how you say it?
Samuel Lazone, yeah.
Samuel Lazone is out for this one. Kevin Proctor has been named to play in... No, he's on the reserves. He's on the reserves for this game. Corey Thompson also on the reserves. David Fafita, a huge in for the Gold Coast Titans via jersey number 17. As for the Newcastle Knights, Phoenix Crosland and Kalen Ponga, he spends so much time out, and he's out once again this week, guys.
You really don't like Kalen Ponga, Ray. I've noticed it. I've noticed the slander from you from Kalen Ponga.
I love Kalen Ponga. Don't get me wrong.
You love Kalen Ponga. No way.
And everyone was saying how bad they thought he played the other night, and I was backing up how good he played the other night. And speaking,
people were saying that he played bad in the Origin game too.
Oh, people on social media bagging him out, saying he's not
our best player.
Oh, he was fantastic by a country mile. Especially in that first half. Tex Hoy will move to fullback for this game. Jake Clifford has been named in jersey 18 on the reserves, and Bradman Best is probably a chance of coming in. He's in jersey number 20. Look, this is a very difficult game to tip. I can understand why the bookies have it as a pick'em. David Fafita is a huge inclusion for the Titans. The Knights play reasonably well at home most of the time, but this season at home they have a very poor record. I do think either team 1-12 is fairly safe for this game, and I'm going to tip the Titans by 12. I'm going to go with the Gold Coast to win this one, 24 points to 12. And you know what? I actually like a sneaky Knights try first, but the Titans to come back from... I think the thing with the Titans is that they have been able to get points on the board and then struggled after that. And I think the opposite here, I think they'll be like Canberra, where they can actually come over the top of their opposition after the score first. I'm going to go with Adam Clune, first try scorer, and the Titans 24 points to 12.
Yeah, so look, obviously I'm going to take Titans. I'm going to say 13 plus, right? But in the same sense, I can argue for why I believe that. Like, I was going to do it regardless and make a joke of it and say 60. But if you want me to be serious, I'll say that, look, David Fear is a big in. Obviously, our halves are still struggling because we are waiting for Kieran Foran to come in next year alongside my boy Toby Sexton. Look, I think that the team is still... We all know what the team was predicted at the beginning of the season, and people have forgotten about, I guess, the potential that we could have seen. It hasn't been seen, but the fact of the matter is that we were still thinking that, and it still can happen. But it's just, we're not making 8 this year. It's not what we were thinking about. What we'll be thinking about right now is just not getting that wooden spoon and putting ourselves into a position where we can, I guess, build on for next year, which sucks because we're always seeming to be building on the previous year to go forward. But then again, Parramatta have been in that stage a lot of the last 36 years. Look, I think that the Titans are a bit more of a fast-paced team than the Knights as well. I think they're going to be able to put when they get a try, they'll be able to, score 2 or 3, which is, I guess, the whole point of the momentum in the game of rugby league nowadays. But I think that Dog Millionaire will have a good game here for the Titans. I think Fafita will come off the bench and he'll do what he can, but he's probably still got a bit of a niggling injury, to be fair. And that's what we were kind of complaining about against the Broncos. He still scored a try with that injury. He still scored a try against the Broncos in that embarrassing game with an injury. And he's an incredible player. But look, I'm going to take his 13+ because I'm going to back us in. I will be down there, obviously, doing what I can to support the boys. I'll be driving down tomorrow, actually. I'll say that if there's going to be an anytime try scorer, I'd definitely be looking towards Dog Millionaire in that fullback position. Who else would I be looking towards there? Greggy Marcy was a pretty obvious one, let's be honest. Greg Marcy was one of the strongest wingers in the game, if not the strongest winger in the game. Yes, his defense is a little bit lackluster, so you probably look towards the Dominic Young try there for the Knights. And if you're going to go into the back row, I'd probably be looking at maybe someone like a Barnett to get a try there for the Knights as well. So Bo Firm is a good shout as well. I don't know. It could be a high-scoring game, this one. Obviously, Titans defense. You said something before that the Titans usually get off to a good start and lose it away. It's actually both. They don't have any kind of strict formula to losing games. Like they have a formula of we'll go up big and then we'll concede and lose a game, or we'll concede big and chase it down but not get there enough. So there's no real kind of formula to losing with Gold Coast. But I'll go 13+ and I'll go Dog Millionaire, and I'll also say Mitch Barnett to score.
Great tip there. So we're both going the Gold Coast Titans for that one. The next game is Friday night from Bluebet Stadium at Penrith, where the Penrith Panthers will face the Sydney Roosters. These two teams met, I think, 5 weeks ago. I attended that game, and the Panthers beat the Roosters, I think, 32 points to 12 in that one.
It didn't reflect the game, though.
No, it didn't reflect the game. It took a long time for Jerome Luai to score the first try in that game as well. I remember, I think the first try was only about 12 minutes out from half-time. Victor Radley is in for the Roosters in jersey number 13, a huge inclusion for them. Lachlan Lamb has been named in jersey number 22. He was fantastic during the rep round as well. Just want to give him a mention. And then no changes for the Penrith Panthers there. Penrith Panthers at home, they've been really solid all season. They're the team to beat for mine. The Roosters, they lost to the Eels 26-16. They're inconsistent, but they can still show up on their day, just like they did against the Sharks. Unfortunately, I think the Panthers really get a blowout score here. I think the Panthers win 36 points to 14. So Panthers by 22. And I reckon Isaac Targo, I think a lot of people will be backing Talib May, Brian To'o. Don't fall into the trap. This week, Isaac Targo is going to get that early ball and score the first try.
Well, there you go. Well, guess what? I'm going to go Roosters.
You're going Roosters?
Yeah, I'm going to go Roosters. So, look, the reason being is that when there's every week I try to look for what I'm most happy for an underdog to get a victory, if you know what I mean. Like I'm trying to say, like, usually you're going to see an underdog victory throughout the week. And I don't think the Roosters are too far off from getting that underdog victory. I think the Panthers boys, obviously, they've had a lot more games in them throughout the season where obviously they've played Origin a couple of times now. So a couple of boys have also played for Samoa, a couple of the international games. And a lot more of the Panthers boys are probably running on a bit more tired legs than what the Roosters would be at this stage. Now, you'll get that second wind after Origin 3, but I think the Panthers boys now are definitely looking more so towards that New South Wales game 3 as well. And I think that, especially considering the Roosters are a team going for the top 8 right now, I think Tedesco is more like, I think he's the only Rooster, or Crichton would be, but Tedesco would be realistically the only Rooster there that would come under the same, I guess, umbrella of what I'm talking about with the Panthers here. But I just think that with them being outside the 8, it would be incredibly, incredibly disappointing for them as a team and embarrassing for the Roosters as a team to miss the 8 this year. And I think it's just not an option. So I'm happy. I think the Panthers should be favourites. I think they're deservedly favourites. But I'm happy to take the underdog in this game because the Roosters can do it. We all know the potential of this team. And I think Sammy Walker will score a try and I'll go 1-12.
I love an upset, so let's see if it happens. Panthers by 22 for mine. And
like Panthers are deservedly favourites. Absolutely deservedly favourites, man. And I'm going with, a pretty big underdog here. But the fact of the matter is that I just know that there is that option due to the fact that there is a lot surrounding this team right now that's not just to do with Penrith.
Well, let's move into the Canterbury Bulldogs, who have hit a bit of form, win over the Eels and a win over the Tigers. I don't know if you can call it form, but they just were able to put some points on the board, looking flashy-dashy, the Bulldogs at the moment. You've got, I'm just trying to look at the changes. It doesn't really look like there's many changes. This Bulldogs team looks pretty much the same, and the same goes for the Sharks. Lockie Miller, once again, on the reserves. He had such a good game against the Titans for mine. He should be on the bench for that side, but The Cronulla Sharks, an 8-point victory over the Titans a few weeks ago. I don't know what to say about this game. I think the Bulldogs have been playing good footy. I think they have been playing good footy, but I think they get a bit of a wake-up call, brought back down to earth here. I think for some reason the Bulldogs play their best footy at Accor Stadium, and this game's at CommBank, so I think it favours the Sharks. I'm going to go the Sharks 32-16, so Cronulla by 16, and I'm going to go the very safe one here. First try scorer, I reckon it'll be Ronaldo Mulitalo.
Yeah, look, I think with the Bulldogs, they play very similarly to how the Tigers played when they beat the Rabbitohs and the Eels. I think that it was great, and they won those two games. And although I think the Bulldogs have more long-term goals and potential and viewpoint than what the Tigers do, I think that it is very similar to that. They are going to now get a bit of a wake-up call and go back down to understand they aren't a top 8 team, the Bulldogs. They aren't up there with those big dogs just yet. Maybe in the near future, yeah, but not right now. I think the Sharks are a bit more clinical of a team. Obviously, the Titans gave it a good go against the Sharks, and they still won 18-10 in Coffs Harbour. But I think the Sharks have a bit too much pace here. The Dogs, obviously, I hear that Mick Potter as well will not be in the stadium because he's got COVID, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, then I apologise. I'm pretty certain he won't be there. I just think that the Sharkies are going to be pretty good here, and I think they're going to put a bit of a score past them. I don't understand their bench, though. For Fafita, Wilson, Finucane, and Finucane and Tolman, there's no real kind of utility there. It's just all forwards. So they're really going with a bit more, I guess, grunt than having that electric ability off the bench there. So, yeah.
I wonder if that goes off Talakai. Starting in the centres, and then if they have an injury, they move Talakai into the second row after knowing that he can do the job in Origin. I wonder if that's
but there's all forwards there though. So why would they do that? What would be the point of having all forwards on the bench there if you're going to move Talakai to the back row?
Yeah.
I guess you could probably utilise Nakora or Graham as that centres there, but it just doesn't really make sense to me. But with that being said, I'll take the Sharkies to win this one by 13 plus. I think they could honestly hit a friggin' 40. I think they honestly could hit a 50 bomb, but I don't think they're going to do it. I will say if anyone's going to score a try, I'd be looking towards Cameron McInnes in the lock. I think that'd be good value. I think Brayley could get something done there. I'll be looking more towards the spinal position of the Sharkies because I just think they're really nifty. I think they're really fast there, and I think that, and I classify the lock as a spinal position too. Maybe not so much Will Candy, but Matty Moylan, Nico Hines, Brayley, or McInnes could all score a try here for me.
Well, I was just about to say, the last two games, I think, against the Titans and the week prior, I forget who it was against, I backed Matt Moylan for a try both of those weeks, and he scored back-to-back games. So the fact that you've backed him makes me want to back him for a try because he's in some...
Or just anyone in that spine, besides maybe Will Candy. But Will Candy can score too. I just think the spinal position of the Sharkies will be able to get the job done.
Let's move into the Queensland Derby. What a game this will be. This is Saturday at 5:30. It is the Cowboys, the surprise pack of the year. Did you have the Cowboys wooden spoon in your preseason predictions? So did I.
Pretty much everyone did, man. And look, just before you get into it, there is nothing wrong with having said the Cowboys to come last beginning of the year. Last year they came 15th. They were one spot off it, and there wasn't really that much improvement because they signed Chad Townsend, who was not that great at the Warriors and Sharkies and was obviously massively downhill. So it's like, it's all great in hindsight to be like, oh, you took the Cowboys in last and now they're in the top 4. Like, it's not about that. And in hindsight, yes, but when back then, everyone was tipping the Cowboys for down that bottom 4. And if you had them in the top 8, then you're either a Cowboys fan or you're a lunatic. And it's good. You got proven right, but it doesn't change the fact that back then it was a realistic viewpoint of where the Cowboys were more than likely going to be coming, but they've proven us all wrong.
Yeah, exactly. They've been the surprise pack of the year. They're sitting in third position up there with the Panthers and the Storm, playing some great footy. Connolly Lemalulu, who's been playing in the back row previously in the centres, will be out for this one. Tom Gilbert is back for the Cowboys, and Kyle Felt has been named in jersey number 22. I almost forgot that he's been out for quite a while, Kyle Felt. He's been out for a good month now. Tyrone Roberts is out for the Broncos as Adam Reynolds returns to the side, and Tyson Gamble has been named in jersey number 20. It's going to be a really good game. It's at Townsville, favours the Cowboys. The Cowboys have won 9 of their last 10 games. I want to tip Brisbane here. I think Brisbane have the opportunity to pull off an upset here, but I think it's a much safer bet to go with the Cowboys. So I'm going to back the Cowboys 1-12 here. kind of like that Storm and Manly game. I think it will be a high scoring.
Back yourself in. Don't go based off what is the safe option. Back yourself in on what you believe is going to happen.
I'm going the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys at home will be too good. 30 points to 18, in my opinion. I do think there'll be plenty of points. I think with the Broncos' inclusion of Adam Reynolds, they can really get some points back on the park. And they've also announced Selwyn Cobbo re-signing today, so I think they'll be on a bit of a high from that as well. So, look, I'm going to go Cowboys by 12, and I'm going to go with Tom Gilbert, the back rower, returning for the Cowboys to score first for this one.
This game's always 1 of 12. I know that early this season it was like a 30-point blowout to the Cowboys at Suncorp, but I think if you play it this game right now at Suncorp, I think the Broncos probably win this game at Suncorp right this very second. I want to take the Broncos, but I am going to take the Cowboys here. I'm going to say Cowboys by 1. I'm going to say Cowboys 19-18 or even 13-12. Anything that involves 1 point, I think Cowboys get the job done here because we all know that these two teams have a big rivalry. It has been quite dead for a couple of years now, and it's still not at anywhere near where it used to be. Like, it's still not really getting the crazy deal of the entire NRL community hyped up because I guess people still came into this year thinking these two teams weren't great and they've surprised everyone. So there really hasn't been that much, I guess, built up around this game. It's also on a Saturday, which isn't exactly as hype as a Friday or even a Sunday. But, I think the Cowboys will get the job done here. I think they'll win by 1 point. If I'm going to take a try scorer, I would take maybe it's a tough one here. I'll take Val Holmes. I'll go Val Holmes there. I'll say Val Holmes. Or even if I want to look at the forwards there, no, I'll just leave it with Val Holmes or even Robson in the hooker role there. I think he's been having a pretty good season. For the Cows. So I'll take those guys there. But I could definitely see the Broncos win this game. When you tip anyone by 1, it means that you're giving both teams the right to win.
Yeah, 1 point, very tight game in that one. I agree. I think this should be a Friday night game. I think it should be a Friday 7:30 game. Absolutely.
But last year they came 14th and 15th. They were never going to give these teams a Friday night game when they're 14th and 15th last year.
That's true.
So it comes down to hindsight again that people don't talk about.
Let's move into my boys, the Parramatta Eels, the most inconsistent team in the NRL this season. But I tell you what,
this season, the last ever, the Parramatta Eels, the Squills have been inconsistent forever. Parramatta is Parramatta. As simple as that.
Parramatta will take on the Rabbitohs at Accor Stadium. Last time we were at Accor Stadium, we got a job done on us by the Canterbury Bulldogs. Peter Mamuzelos is out for the Rabbitohs. Liam Knight has been named in jersey number 20. Could be a late inclusion. Speaking of inclusions, Latrell Mitchell, back from his first appearance in 11 rounds. Round 5 was the last time Latrell Mitchell. And we saw a great start to his season at the start of the year. In my opinion, I don't think Latrell plays Origin. I think he owes the Rabbits too much this season. And I think to get them towards that top 8 spot, he's going to be needed at his absolute best. And that's probably what we're going to see from him. As for the Parramatta Eel, I know it was kind of spoken about last game because it was a late change, but Ryan Madison re-signing, he's at lock with Isaiah Papali'i moving back to the second row, which I really like that move. I think Isaiah Papali'i is way more damaging on an end edge than at lock. But look, I think Parramatta can win this game. We have a horrible record against the Bunnies, a very, very bad, especially in recent years. Our last win comes back 2019 during the Origin period. They spent 4 straight games putting 38 or more points against us. I think we can keep them to 18 here. I'm going to go with a scoreline of 26 points to 18, so Parramatta by 8. I don't think we win this game 13 plus. I know how bad the Rabbitohs have been this year, but I don't think we win at 13 plus. And I have a weird feeling that Clint Gutherson, who's someone I don't back for tries very much, is going to score first in this match.
You can't say how bad Rabbitohs have been this year when they're only 1 spot below you on the ladder. Like the Rabbitohs are 7th and the Eels are 6th. But I do have the Eels to win this game. What I said on my tipping video, I said basically that the Eels Parramatta is Parramatta. They always are going to be a team that lose to the bad teams and then beats the good teams. And when it comes to finals, they can't beat nobody. You know, it's kind of been the case for the last 36 years, why they've got no premiership in 36 years. But I don't think the Rabbitohs are a bad team. So that means I classify them in the, at least relatively, well, they're in the top half. So I'll take them as a relatively good team. And although I think they have the opportunity to win this game, I think the Eels there's no way they should be losing this game. And I'll take the Eels to win it based on the fact that I still think they have enough quality in them. If they play like they did against the Roosters, then they should give them a bit of a touch up here. I think Mitchell Moses could score here. I don't know. I just get a feeling maybe he'll be able to sneak something through in the halves there with his running game. And I'll say Parramatta by 14.
Oh, 13 plus.
But I could see Rabbitohs winning. I could see Rabbitohs winning, but that's not based on the Rabbitohs for me. I mean, that's based on Parramatta being Parramatta.
Yeah. The next game is the Warriors at Mount Smart Stadium for the first time in a long time. This is exciting. The Warriors are back home. Not the greatest season so far for the Warriors, so hopefully they can turn their season around with some home game. Dunamis Lui, who made his Warriors debut in the previous match, is out for this one. As for the ends, it looks like it doesn't look like too many. It's all just reserved for that one. Chanel Harris-Tavita on the bench for the Warriors. As for the Tigers, Alex Twal is out for this one, and Stefanu Utu-Ikamanu will make his Tigers return in jersey 14. Just speaking quickly, the halves of the Tigers, Luke Brooks has been recalled back in the half with Jackson Hastings and Adam Dewey on the bench in jersey number 15. I hope the Warriors win this by 30. I really do. They should win this by 30. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be a huge atmosphere, emotions. I'm really, really looking forward to watching this game. For some reason, I think the Warriors win 1-12. I hate to say it, but I just think I think it will be a bit of a tussle early on, potentially even scores level at halftime, but the Warriors do run away with it. So I'm going to go Warriors by 12, 28 points to 16. I think we're going to see the old king of New Zealand in Sean Johnson score the first try. We're going to see him wind back the clock, some Sean Johnson magic back on that particular park. Warriors by 12 for mine.
Look, there's no pressure on the Tigers here at all. The Tigers, if by going off what we say, the Titans beat the Knights, then the Tigers will go into bottom spot, and the Titans have their bye next week anyway, so that'll be really bad for the Tigers. But I just don't think there's any pressure on the Tigers, and the Warriors have to win this game 13+. They're finally getting their first home game in many years. But I will throw this out there too for all the Warriors fans out there, so that you can temper your expectations. The Wellington Phoenix were also in the same situation, and then last year they actually got to go, or beginning this year, they got to go back for the first time in years, and everyone was like, "Oh, they're going to win." They weren't playing a good team, and they lost 3-0. They didn't even score a single goal.
Was it the Mariners?
Probably. You guys aren't good. So, the fact of the matter is, I don't know who it was, but it could have been Mariners. They lost 3-0, which was disgusting. And it doesn't deserve their fans. The fans of the Warriors had gone through a 70-point drubbing by the Storm this year, that Sharks game, which was abysmal. The Warriors fans, like Titans fans, I always say the loser brigade is Titans, Warriors, Tigers, and Eels, because obviously you've gone 36 years without something. And the Knights have kind of wiggled their way inside that loser brigade as well. It's always tough to support those 5 teams. They're probably the five toughest teams to support in the comp, and Warriors and Titans are smack bang in the middle of that. So I want to see the Warriors win 13+ here. I'm going to back them in to win 13+. If they don't win 13+, that's going to be disappointing. As long as they get a win, though. But I'll back in with the Sean Johnson one. I like that. I like Shawnee J to sneak someone there, especially considering he's had a very poor season. I think that he goes home and feels a lot better about himself and is a bit more confident with himself and gets the job done. So, I'll say Warriors 13+. If they lose, so help them God, that'll be a riot in Auckland.
There will be. Well, we finish off the round at Wollongong, where the Dragons, who flogged the Rabbitohs the final previous round, and going up against the Canberra Raiders, who snatched victory from the jaws of defeat off of Hudson Young, chip and chase against the Newcastle Knights. The Raiders probably have been playing better footy for the Dragons overall this season. They are lower on the ladder, the Raiders, but I think they've gone on a bit of a win streak at times and they've played better footy overall. As for the Dragons, they're currently sitting in the top 8, coming off a huge confidence win. It has been a few weeks. James Schiller is out for the Raiders, and Semi Valame has been named on the reserves for this one. Chance Nickel-Klokstad is back for the Raiders in jersey number 16. Not too much to speak about there. This is an incredibly tough game to tip. I think I think I'm going to go the Dragons here. I don't know why. I do think
That's because
it is
they're
a
like
bit
your
of a
second team.
I think it's almost a coin flip, though. I think it really is almost a coin flip. I wouldn't have this what the bookies have it at that $1.40, $2.50. I think the Dragons win by 4. I think it's a really, really tight game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Canberra win this game at all. Probably
Dragons
another
are
one.
$1.40.
Dragons are $1.40 and Raiders are $2.50 last time I checked.
That's
big odds there.
interesting.
I actually didn't have a first try scorer written down for this game because Jurassic Park, which I earlier went to saw, save your money. It was all right. It wasn't the best. Was starting at that time. But I'm going to go Matt Feagai on the wing for the Dragons to score first. And I'm going to go the Dragons by 4.
Yeah, I'm taking the Raiders here. I actually don't understand how those odds are like that. I really don't get it. The defense has been a lot better recently. I think that last week was relatively poor and still found the win there. I think they've really turned their season around quite dramatically. I think the Fogarty's the most overrated halfback in the competition because of the exit from the Titans, which people don't know about. They don't realise that he was being a dog by what he did rather than the Titans letting him go. Titans didn't let him go. He just didn't want to fight for his position because he's lazy. So I don't think he's actually done anything there at Canberra just yet. And I'm just kind of insulting Jamal because I feel like it right now. But the fact of the matter is that I think the Raiders will still get the job done here. They've got some pretty experienced halves there in Whiten and Fogarty. Xavier Savage is electric in that fullback position. I love that Ricky is so stone cold on Starling always being off that bench there in that 14. He will never start him ever. The Dragons, they're a very random piece together team. If they didn't have Ben Hunt, they'd be last. Honestly, if they didn't have Ben Hunt, I think this team would genuinely be last. He's the most, I spoke about overrated with Jamal. I think he's the most underrated player because he dropped one ball. I spoke about this on my TikTok actually, on the BK Sport YouTube TikTok there, that I think Ben Hunt is the most underrated player in the entire game because he dropped one ball in a grand final 7 years ago that he actually got that team to that grand final in the first place. I think that if the Dragons, it's going to go 1-12. I think the Raiders. This used to be a bogey game for one of these two teams. I can't remember which team it was, but there was a try after the siren to actually end that bogey curse.
I think the Raiders had the record over the Dragons.
Maybe, and then Dragons maybe they snuck it after the siren to win that one, but that was like 10 years ago. I'll go the Raiders here. I think they're a little bit better. I think the Dragons are pretty poor, but they're still in the 8 right now, which I don't know how they're there. I really don't. I really don't understand how they're there. Like, and even the Titans, we beat them. Like, we beat them. We can't beat a chook raffle right now. We can't. We could get 100% of tickets in a chook raffle, and somebody else would still win it. And we beat them. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm going the Raiders here. I think their defense will be a little bit better. I think they're a bit more experienced in spine. I'll go 1-12, and I'll say if anyone's going to score, maybe you'd probably look towards someone like a Jordan Rapana or a Matty Tomoko. No, I'd look at the centres here in Sebastian Chris or Matty Tomoko.
So we've gone against each other for 2 tips there. I've gone the Dragons. He's gone the Raiders. And earlier, as you saw, he's gone the Roosters. Wild man. And I've gone the Penrith.
I'm happy with the upset. I'm not saying I'm not guaranteeing that as a result, but I'm just saying I'm happy to go with the upset there.
Let's see what happens. Well, thank you so much for jumping on the channel. Just let everyone know where we can find you.
You can find me on BK Sport, YouTube, TikTok. Thing is, I actually had a TikTok which was BK Sport, and then I forgot the password for it. So it's BK Sport YouTube on TikTok. We're nearly at 1,000 followers now. I've only recently got on there, so get us to 1,000 so we can go live. Because you can't go live on there until you hit 1,000. But no, I'll be at the Knights Titans game this week. The vlog will come out on Monday. Obviously, we stream all the games, so I'll be here for Manly Melbourne, and we've got some international rugby this weekend and UFC this weekend too. It's a huge weekend, so no, I'm looking forward to it.
Plenty of content. Well, thanks for jumping on the channel, and make sure you subscribe to BKR's channel. If you're new around here, subscribe to my channel. Enjoy your weekend of rugby league, and